Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a sit down video and telling you 10 things I wish I knew about sewing as a beginner, and also maybe some of those things are going to be things I was told but I didn't listen and I wish I listened. So yeah, so stay tuned, and before we get right into this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 300 subscribers by the end of April, so please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and check my other videos out. I make videos on making patterns, cutting and sewing, and I really hope you enjoy it. So yes, thank you so much, and yeah, let's get right into the video. Alright, so just a little bit of backstory of why I decided to do this video. You know, I have a lot of friends that are always like, Taiwo, please teach me how to sew. Oh wow, this dress is so awesome, you made this, I want to learn how to sew. And it's such a decision. Like, I'm like, do you guys actually realize how much commitment it takes to sew and how much, you know, goes into it? So this is for you guys thinking about sewing, or maybe you have, I don't know, this is just helpful. So yeah, this is for people that don't know much about sewing. I have my list here. So the first thing I wish I listened to, because this is something you should do but I just didn't listen: reading my machine's manual. You guys, yes, and that person, they tell you read your machine's manual, but I never read my machine's manual. And for the longest time, like 5 years into having my machine, I was actually still discovering new things that my machine could do. So I would take like the long way out and I'll be like, oh wait, so you mean my machine can do this? Oh wow. So yeah, read your machine's manual, it's very important. So yeah, don't be like me, read your manual. Alright, so number 2 is don't be cheap. Invest in your craft. Get the good stuff. So you know, with sewing, you're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to need to get a good machine. You're going to need to get tools, and you know, sometimes it's easy to take the easy way out. So there's some things you can go cheap on. There's some things that you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on. Some things are not really expensive, but there's some things that are expensive. So one thing I wish I did was, you know, not go cheap, not be too cheap on some things. Because if you watch my sewing room tour, by the way, go watch that video. I showed you the tour of my sewing room. But yeah, I showed you like my scissors collection. Why? Because I had so much. Because the first time I wanted to get the scissors, okay, maybe the first time I was just starting out, but when that didn't work, I was like, oh my god, how can I spend $80 on a pair of scissors? Like, how can I spend $80 on scissors? It doesn't make sense. So every time I would go and buy like $20, $25, $30 scissors, and it would work for a while, but it never really cut very well, and I would get frustrated. Taiwo, you need to get a good pair of scissors. Like, you have to get a good pair of scissors. Actually, you know what happened? I used my friend's scissors one time and it was like, that scissors cut so smooth. I was like, what? I've been wasting my money and, you know, my time on this pair of cheap scissors, and I just decided to buy the expensive one. That's safe if I just bought the expensive one to begin with, or maybe at the second, because at first it was a new craft I was trying. I wasn't sure if it was something I was going to, you know, keep going on with. But maybe at the second time, if I bought the $80 scissors, I would have saved a whole lot of money, because I bought the cheap ones and then I still ended up having to buy the expensive one. So that's one thing I would say: make sure to invest. You would need tools, invest in them. That thing I learned, or I wish I was told, it's okay to make mistakes. You know, everybody makes mistakes. And I believe, yes, where I learned, the woman actually told me that, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. You will make mistakes, learn from it, and You know, you can even turn your mistake into a design. Really, you can make something out of your mistake. But I don't think I really listened. No, I didn't really listen, because when I first started, I had a lot of unfinished projects and I was always disappointed. I think I even quit sewing. Yeah, not even think, I quit sewing for a couple of years because I was just like, I'm not good, I'm making mistakes, and I would always leave it. And you know, seeing all that, it's discouraging when you haven't finished one and you're going on to the next one. You kind of get discouraged. So one thing I just wish I had listened to was, it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. You know, you just learn from it. Once you make a mistake in one project, you learn from it, and you know, try and take it to the next project. Okay, how can I be better? How can I not make the same mistake the next time? So that's one thing I wish I'd listened to. Another thing is, invest your time in learning. You know, sewing does take a lot of time. It takes time, and that's another thing about I wish I was told, was sewing takes a lot of time, and you have to invest your time as well in it. So for example, you have to watch YouTube videos, watch my videos. Okay, yeah, that's a shameless plug, but watch YouTube videos, you know, on how to cut, how to sew. Like randomly, I would just watch random videos on YouTube. I wasn't even sewing that outfit, but I found it so interesting, and that was how I began to learn, just watching videos on YouTube. And you know, I would find that maybe when I was going to another project, I was like, oh, I saw how this person did this. And you know, also take a course. I remember I took a course in sewing. I paid for a course in sewing, and it was fun, and I learned a lot from that course as well. So it's things like that. You have to invest in sewing. Another thing is, I wish someone told me about the back pain. Oh my god, you guys, sewing causes a lot of back pain. That's all I can say. I don't even know how to. It's just, except you have the space, but you know, I don't really have the space right now. So I don't have a space for a cutting table that's up to my level, like up to where I don't really have to bend. I can just stand and cut easily. I don't have that right now, so I usually cut on the floor, and that comes with a lot of bending. And even at the machine, you know, you kind of have to bend and look at it properly. So it's kind of painful. I remember a few years ago, I had severe back pain. Like, I would get out of bed and it was so hard to walk. Like, I had to go to a chiropractor. That helped for a while. But actually, strangely, I actually don't feel that pain anymore. Like, I rarely have that intense pain anymore. And what happened? I just prayed, honestly. I prayed about it. And yes, after a while, like, it just left. I was healed. And I thank God for that. But yeah, I guess to solve that is just pray and just try and sit in a good position. Don't bend your neck too much and stuff like that, even though you would have to, but just be mindful of your posture and get things that would make your life easier, like tables if you have the space for it, you know. Another thing I wish someone told me about sewing was, you know, take your time. And this is one thing I'm learning right now, is, you know, just taking my time. Before I sew for myself or even a client, I always like to take time. So I'm that type of person that I would look at it, then I need to go do some other things and come back with a fresh mind and have a new perspective on how I can even do that, how I can do it better. So for example, I have to plan, I have to think about it in my mind first, else I find that I make a lot of mistakes if I just rush into it. So I make sure, sometimes I actually write it down, because I don't always use patterns as well for my clothes, because it's just long. I know I make it on my channel, but sometimes it's just long to make a pattern. I just do it straight on the fabric, and for me to be able to do that, I have to plan. Also, one thing I've started doing was I just pray now before my before I actually start a project, I just pray and I'm like, God, take absolute control of this project. I pray that, you know, inspire me, help me, let this go as planned. I find that when I go into the project, like once I start it, even if when I'm about to make a mistake or I'm about to forget a step, I kid you not, guys, like I would remember and I'll be like, oh, no, I have to do this first. Or even if I made a mistake, like I just get inspired. I do this to fix it. It's an easy fix, you know. I'm not very agitated. So that's one thing I have learned. Planning and prayers helps you. So yeah. So another thing I wish someone had told me was just do it. Don't be fearful, just do it. I was always a fearful person. I was always scared. I was always like, oh my god, what if I ruin the outfit? Especially when it's going for other people. I'm always so scared, or maybe cutting into an expensive fabric that would actually hurt me if I actually ruined it. I was always scared and I would always like, oh my god, please, I don't want to ruin this fabric. But you know, just do it. Don't be fearful. Like I said, I pray before I do it, and I just have confidence now, and it will be fine. Once you plan, that takes away the fear as well. Once you know what you're doing, once you know what you're doing, once you have knowledge, once you have the right steps, fear just disappears. You're more confident. So that's one thing I found. Another thing I wish I knew was you would get battle wounds. You would get a lot of wounds. I call it battle scars, but you would actually get a lot of, you would actually enjoy yourself. I wish I knew that before I started sewing, so I would have prepared my mind. I think there was one incident like that. I think that was the worst that has ever happened to me though. But I was sewing one day, and you know, I think it was even jeans. I was helping someone slim fit their jeans, and maybe I wasn't using the right needle, or it was too bulky, and the needle broke, and I don't even know how it happened, but it went through my finger. So it went through my fingernail and it was just lodged in there. It was so painful. I had to pull it out and it was bleeding, and I had a hole, like I had like a wound in my finger for like a while. That was painful. I would step on pins, and when I'm trying to pin something, I would just poke myself. So painful. There was one time I actually used my cutting scissors and I cut myself. That was so painful. So yeah, that's one thing I wish I knew. Another thing is sewing takes space. It takes a lot of space, sewing, and sometimes it's messy as well. You know, that's one thing I struggle with right now. You know, the space it takes. I can't wait to have like my own sewing room, like just a room dedicated for sewing that I can just close it up. I can just close the door when I'm going, and my whole house is clean and no one knows I sew when they come to my house. I think this is the last one, and my last one is, it's not really about sewing. It's not really about sewing. There's a whole lot of other things you have to do before you actually sew. Sewing is actually the easiest part of sewing. It's the easiest part. You have to learn how to cut. Cutting takes time because you have to plan. You have to, if you use patterns, you have to modify the patterns. If you make your own patterns, you have to make the patterns. It actually takes time. So I wish I knew that. And also get used to ironing, because you're going to iron a lot. I would always like give up because I didn't know about ironing. I think that was a big changer. Just ironing your clothes, it makes it look a whole lot better and nicer, and makes things easier when you're sewing. Things stay in place. You're not constantly trying to get things to stay in place. You just need to invest in an ironing board and a good iron. And yeah. Alright, so I think we've come to the end of this video. If you have watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel, guys. Share, tell your friends about my channel. And yes, that's it. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.